updated National Intelligence Committee report on unidentified aerial phenomenon, aka UAPs, aka the government trying to avoid the word UFO, is finally here. It was here when I wrote this video back in June. If you're new here, I'm Zayna, and I like to explain things. So if you'd like more things explained to you, hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so you don't miss another one of my videos. As per usual, all sources mentioned and unmentioned are listed in the description of this video. Okay, so officially this paper is called Preliminary Assessment Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, and it came out on June 25th, 2021. As I mentioned before, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as a UAP, is synonymous to UFO or unidentified flying object, so I may or may not use the terms interchangeably throughout this video. We'll find out. The first section is scope and assumptions. So the first thing that this paper tells us under the headline of scope is that this report comes directly from the ODNI, otherwise known as the Office of the Direction National Intelligence, in response to the provision in Senate Report 116-223. Its purpose is to submit an assessment of the threats posed by UAPs and the progress the Department of Defense Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, aka the UAPTF, has made in understanding this threat. Okay, so after seeing that Senate report number, I immediately ran to Google to go see what was going on with it, and I found that there were actually specific guidelines listed for what information should be in this report. There was a total of 8 requirements for the data collected in this paper. The first one is that it must be a detailed analysis of unidentified aerial phenomena data and intelligence reporting collected or held by the Office of Naval Intelligence, including and intelligence reporting held by the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. So basically we're talking a detailed analysis and all the data that the Navy and the UAP Task Force had up to this point. The second was a detailed analysis of unidentified phenomena data collected by geospatial intelligence, signals intelligence, human intelligence, and measurement and signals intelligence. So basically this information was not supposed to just be like person in the Navy reported, oh, I saw a UFO or UAP or whatever they want to call it. It was also, oh, like a camera caught it, or I don't know, a robot caught it. Maybe a Mars rover caught it, who knows? But the point is that they were very specific about all the sources of information that they wanted to be included in this. The third guideline is that it should be a detailed analysis of data of the FBI, which was derived from investigations of intrusion of unidentified aerial phenomena data over restricted United States airspace. So basically they're looking for a detailed analysis from the FBI of times when investigations were started because maybe a UAP entered restricted United States airspace. The next guideline is that a detailed description of an interagency process for ensuring timely data collection and centralized analysis of all unidentified aerial phenomena reporting for the federal government, regardless of which service or agency acquired the information. So basically they're just looking for more information on how the agencies took this information and synthesized it together, how they did it quickly, and what the process was around it. The fifth guideline is identification of an official accountable for the process described in paragraph 4. They just want to know who's the person they should turn to when something in that entire interagency process goes wrong. Who should they turn to if it goes right? Who is the person at the top of the table who is making sure that these systems and this information is synthesized in a timely and correct manner. Guideline 6 is identification of potential aerospace or other threats posed by the unidentified aerial phenomena to national security and an assessment of whether this unidentified aerial phenomena activity may be attributed to one or more foreign adversaries. So basically, are these UAPs a threat and are they coming from our enemies? The 7th guideline is identification of any incidents or patterns that indicate a potential adversary may have achieved breakthrough aerospace capabilities that could put United States strategic or conventional forces at risk. Long story short, are these UAPs more advanced than us, and is that going to pose as a problem for us? And then at the bottom of the clause, there's a sentence that says that the report will be in unclassified form, but there can be an unclassified section if needed. Anyway, that was just some information from the clause that instigated the paper that I thought would be interesting to keep in mind as we move through the report. Anyway, back to the paper. The ODNI continues with the summary of the paper in the opening paragraph, etc., by saying that this report provides an overview for policymakers of the challenges associated with characterizing the potential threat posed by UAP, while also providing a means to develop relevant processes, policies, technologies, and training for the U.S. military and other U.S. government personnel if and when they encounter UAP, so as to enhance the intelligence community's ability to understand the threat. This report's just an overview for policymakers to give them an update on UAPs, what the government can do to, make the process of identifying them and figuring out if they're a threat a little better, etc., etc. Then, as requested by Guideline 5, the paper identifies the director of the UAPTF as the person in charge of putting all this information together and putting the report together. And then they let us know that the information in this paper spans from November 2004 to March 2021, but that they are continuing to collect and analyze data on UAPs. And finally, they let us know that this report was created in collaboration with a number of government agencies. They're all listed here. You can feel free to pause if you'd like to read all of them. This section was literally one sentence that says various forms of sensors that register UAP generally operate correctly and capture enough real data to allow initial assessments, but some UAP may be attributed to sensor anomalies. Like any good scientists or data collectors, they're covering their bases here. They're letting us know that, computers aren't always accurate, people's eyes aren't always accurate, which makes total sense. But keep in mind, it also leaves a lot of space for them to say, hey, this data that I collected, it was actually a fluke, so it's not real, or you know what, I don't want to address that in this paper, so I'm just gonna say it's a fluke. This section starts with the ODNI saying, the limited amount of high-quality reporting on unidentified aerial phenomena hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature or intent of UAP. Again, this is just another way for them to say what we're reporting may or may not be true, and we can neither confirm nor deny anything that we have seen or reported within this paper. They continue letting us know that they created a unique, tailored reporting process required to provide sufficient data for analysis of UAP events. The author then repeats earlier information, reminding us that this paper contains information reported from 2004 to 2021, and that most of the UAP reported probably do represent physical objects, given that a majority of UAP were registered across multiple sensors to include radar, infrared, electro-optical, weapon seekers, and visual observation. That covers the second guideline that talked about all the sources of information they wanted contained in this paper. They've just listed some of them. But then they cover their butts again when they say, in a limited number of incidents, UAP reportedly appeared to exhibit unusual flight characteristics. These observations could be the result of sensor errors, spoofing, or observer misperception, and require additional rigorous analysis. And again, this makes sense. Humans are unreliable, eyes are unreliable, machines are unreliable, robots are unreliable. Things always make mistakes, but it also gives them an easy out if there's information that they don't want to share, or if, there's something that they can't explain or prefer not to explain. I will say that additional rigorous analysis is super dramatic, but we've read all these other government papers, the government's dramatic, we get it. Finally, giving us a little more information, the ODNI tells us that there are 5 kinds of UAP. Airborne cutter, natural atmospheric phenomenon, USG, aka the United States government, or US industry development programs, foreign adversary systems, and then there's a catch-all other bin, which is where I'm assuming the alien type UFOs go in, but they didn't really want to say that. As for what exactly these categories mean, we'll get back to that later in the paper. Next, we're told that all UAPs poses a flight issue, should it be something that perhaps gets caught in the engine of an airplane, or maybe even runs into an airplane because, we didn't know about it, and that they may pose as a threat to national security should they be a breakthrough or disruptive technology, aka technology that is more advanced in the United States, or something like a weapon of mass destruction that would, obviously be a problem because everything would get blown up. Okay, so the last portion of this section states, consistent consolidation of reports from across the federal government, standardized reporting, increased collection and analysis, and a streamlined process for screening all such reports against a broad range of relevant USG, United States government, data will allow for a more sophisticated analysis of UAP that is likely to deepen our understanding. Going back to those guidelines, it's a little bit of a recommendation letting us know hey, if we do these XYZ things, then we're going to be able to give you guys more accurate data in the future. I have a feeling this is a pitch for funding, so maybe a little, give us more money so we can do all these things, please. The next section is called Available Reporting Largely Inconclusive and starts with the subheading, Limited Data Leaves Most UAP Unexplained. But if you want to hear more about that, you'll have to wait for part 2. Thanks for watching.